Today I'm going to show you how I got this eyeshadow look just using an eyeshadow quad. I use this one by YSL. It is the Couture Mini Clutch in the shade 300. Now this eye look is more of a neutral glam eye look, but I did make this video very beginner friendly. I like to zoom in, get up close and personal, and show you exactly how I'm doing my eyeshadow. I show you the brushes that I'm using, how I'm picking up the product on the brush, and all of my tips and tricks to create this look. Let's zoom in and get started. I'm going to start by priming my eyes with the Rare Beauty eyeshadow primer. I like this eye primer because it's nice and lightweight, and it also has a little bit of a tint to it, so it's going to help to hide any veins or discoloration you might have on your eyelid. It's going to give my eyeshadow a nice base to stick to, and it's going to last all day. I blended out that primer throughout my entire eyelid. Now I'm going to take a little bit of my face powder on a fluffy crease brush. I picked up a little bit of powder, and I'm just going to lightly set my crease area. This is going to help to prevent this area from creasing throughout the day, and it's also going to give me a really smooth base to work with, so my eyeshadow will blend on top of this even easier. Now going into the YSL quad, I'm going to take the lightest matte shade on that same fluffy crease brush. When you pick up the shadow, it does have quite a bit of kickback on it, so I recommend just tapping off your brush. So I have that shadow on the tip of my brush, and I'm going to run this shade throughout my entire crease. So I'm using a really light hand for this, and I'm going all the way from this inner crease all the way to the outer crease. I'll kind of do a mixture of back and forth motions like this, and also just kind of little circles throughout the crease. And this shade is really light, but it does have a soft peachy tone to it. So it does show up very soft on my skin tone, but that's kind of what makes it a perfect transition shade for me, is that it's just slightly darker than my skin tone. Now I'm switching to a crease brush, and I'm taking the next deepest shade. So I picked up that shade kind of on one of the flat side of the brushes, but I'm still focusing this on the tip of the brush, and I'm gonna start by lightly packing that on the outer half of my eyelid. So I'm keeping this nice and low at first because this is where I want the most pigment, and then once there's less product on my brush is when I'll start to kind of blend and move around this shadow. I did pick up a little bit more shadow, and I'm just tapping that on the very outer part of my lid. Now I'm going to take a small firm blending brush with the deepest matte shade, and I picked up just a little bit of this shade on the tip of the brush, and I'm going to stay on the outer part of my eye, and I'm just going to lightly press that shadow onto this very outer part to deepen up my eyelid. And again with this shade, I am keeping it really low. I'm not going up into my crease or anything. Now with this brush, I'm just going to go in between these two shades, kind of back and forth. And I'm just going to use that to kind of soften and blend around this deeper area. It always helps to go back to the previous shade you were using. So in this case, it's going to be that more orangey toned. And you can use that to kind of soften the edges of this deeper brown. But I do want this look to be pretty soft, so I'm not going to use a lot of that deepest brown shade. Now going back to that crease brush I was using, you can see this side's kind of dirtier. So I'm going to take this more clean side, and I'm going to pick up this sparkly shade. Now this shade is so pretty and sparkly, and I picked it up more on the flat side of the brush, and I'm just going to lightly dust that on this kind of blank part of my eyelid, mostly the inner half of it. So I'm not going all the way to the deeper shadows out here. I'm kind of stopping right around here. Really love the soft sparkle that this shade has. It's not too over the top, but it's just so pretty. Now I'm gonna go back to that very first brush I started with, the fluffy crease brush, and I have no additional product on this, but I'm just gonna kind of blend around the edges of everything to make sure everything is nice and soft in the crease. Now the eyelid is done, I'm gonna do my under eye concealer with the Natasha Denona concealer in the shade RN3, and then I'm just blending in that concealer with my soft angled concealer brush. All the brushes I'm using today are by Sigma Beauty. They are my favorite eye brush brand, hands down, and I do have a code with them. It's just ANGELABRIGHT if you want to save some money. And of course, I'm going to link all the products and brushes I'm using today down below in the description box. And then using my same face powder, I'm going to set the entire under eye area. And now my lower lash line is ready for shadow. I'm gonna clean off that small firm blending brush on my Sigma Switch just to get all the extra dark pigment off of this brush. And I'm gonna pick up that more mid-tone matte shade. Again, I have that shade on the tip of the brush, and I'm gonna run this across my entire lower lash line. And I did do a few layers of this shade to get the pigment that I want. And then to soften out the edges, I'll take that lightest matte shade and just kind of go right below the orangey shade. Still using the same brush, I'm taking a little bit more of that deepest matte shade, and I'm gonna lightly stamp that along the outer part of my lower lash line, just to add a little bit of definition down here, but nothing too harsh. And while I'm out here, I'm also just gonna touch up that darkest shade on the outer part of my lid. Now you can take any highlighter shade you like and pop that in your inner corner. I'm using the Natasha Denona highlighter trio with the lightest shade Pearl. So I just stamp that right in here, and whatever is left on my brush, I'll bring right under my brow. I wanted to quickly show you what this eye makeup looks like with just mascara. I did also try a new mascara today for the first time, and I'm actually kind of impressed. It's the new Essence Call Me Queen. It has this kind of smaller size but slightly spiky brush. So I feel like I did a good job at just grabbing my lashes, lifting them up, keeping them nice and separated. I'm pretty impressed by this. Now I'm going to take this makeup look up a notch and make it just a little bit more glam. So if you want something soft and easy for every day, you can totally stop here. And now I'm going to take a black pencil liner, and I'm going to line my upper tight line area, so right along the base of my lashes, and I'm using the Makeup Forever liner in whatever black. You can see I brought that liner all the way into this little inner area, and I'm just going to take a little angled brush and just kind of move around that liner to get it nice and situated kind of where I want it. So I love the effect that this black liner just kind of adds to the look. It makes my lashes look thicker and fuller. But if you do this technique, you are more than likely to get transfer onto your waterline area. Just to show you my other eye, I have finished this eye, but you can see there is some black right down here. Now that doesn't bother me with this liner because this black isn't like super black. It just kind of gives a little bit of a shadow, kind of some definition down there that I am okay with. I am going to touch up my shimmer shade with my finger just right here in this very inner part because I want this to pop just a little bit more. Shadows are so soft. So to finish this look, I popped on a half lash, and I'm wearing the Bright Lashes half lash in Flutter. So that lash is just sitting on this very outer part of my eye to kind of lift it up, add a little bit of drama, but a little bit of volume as well. And again, now you can see I've been sitting here doing my lash. It hasn't even been very long that black has now really transferred to my waterline area. And it might not look great close up like this, but once I step back from the camera, you'll see what I mean. But here's a final close up of the eye look. Here is what the full face looks like. I love how my makeup turned out today. I feel so pretty. Let me tell you what else is on my face really quick. My cream blush, I tried one of the new ColurPop cream blushes that I got in PR. This is the shade Culver City, kind of like a more neutral toned pink. So I started with this blush, and then I topped it off with the NYX Butter Melt blush in the shade Butta Together. This is the only one that I own from this line, but I have been so obsessed with this. These are so inexpensive, but so beautiful. I love the soft sheen that they have. I definitely want to check out some more shades. And then to kind of merge my under eye with my blush, I'm wearing my bareMinerals highlighting blush powder in the shade Rose Glow. It's kind of like a little blush highlighter hybrid. I really like this product to just give a little bit of glow right on the cheekbone when I don't want to do like a full highlighter look. And then on my lips, for my lip liner, I'm wearing the Makeup Forever lip liner in the shade Wherever Walnut. My lipstick, I'm wearing the Lawless lipstick in the shade Wedding Day. I used to be so obsessed with this shade, but I like haven't used it in a while. I saw it sitting there and I was like, I'm gonna use this one today. And yes, it is like a perfect pinky nude for me. And then I top that off with just a little bit of gloss. I'm wearing the Pat McGrath gloss in the shade Nude Venus on top. So now that I'm kind of farther back from the camera, I was telling you how that eyeliner was transferring to my waterline, but I feel like from far away, it doesn't look bad at all. It looks like I have a little bit of definition just wrapped around my eyeball, and I think it looks really good. All right, that is going to wrap up this makeup look. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.